But most important, when I'm looking for early stage startup, which this is the area what I'm doing, the most important thing is the entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneurs, I look for VIP teams. What is VIP? VIP stands for V, which is the values. What drives the background and the values of the founder itself. I, which is the intent. What he wants to do. What is an intention? And then the P, which is the plan. How we want to achieve it.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Leumi Tech, sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Opwest Labs, Turing, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and in media partnership with C-Tech. We all want to make a strong impact, and it's a little ambiguous what that actually means and how to actually measure the impact. Today, I'm joined by Ofir Azury, Head of Technology Investments at Gandyr Investment Group, and we pretty much talked exactly about this challenge. Ofir is a technology and impact investor and serves as the head of technology investments at Gandyr Investment Group, focusing on early-stage startups within the areas of AI, SaaS, digital health, and corporate SW. Some of its portfolio ventures include companies such as Yotpo, Mobileye, Nutrino, Anyword, NYM, Sofwave, Ecoppia, Eleos Health, and others. Ofir Azury, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for having me, Michael.
Of course. Are you calling from Gandyr right now in Israel?
Yeah, actually, I'm within the Gandyr office, which is Gandyr is a family office in which I'm taking part of as the technology leader in the entire investment area. So this is where I reside most of the day.
Wonderful. A lot of people, when I ask them to give me, this one sentence brief, and generally I think of when they send me their bio, I look at this first sentence and I see, okay, how do they describe themselves? And one of the things that I noticed is that you immediately said that Ofir is a technology and impact investor, and that is not it's not a very trivial thing to pass by. And I think that was also a great segue into to talking about something that is a little different than what I'm used to hearing about, but it is equally as exciting as anything else with this idea of impact investing. So Ofir, why do you call yourself an impact investor? What does that mean?
So actually this kind of combination started when 11 years ago, when I started to advise Gandyr on different type of investment, mostly around the tech area. So Gandyr is a family office in which there is a certain amount of values that it employs throughout the different activities, starting from the Gandyr Foundation, which is a foundation that helps young adults in Israel. And inside of that, they're doing different stuff on different type of investment. So as a combination of this kind of values, we managed to create an impact investment room, which is a virtual room, but actually combine the value and saying that not doing only money from general investment and then putting in philanthropy, try to integrate this into something more like a whole process that combines your values and putting it into work. So throughout the years in my technology investment, I started to work with a lot of different startups. And I found out that a lot of different teams that they cannot take themselves or call themselves like impact. But actually within the DNA of these kind of teams, they really want to do good. So this kind of combination created me taking the role of, okay, what kind of impact investment within the tech-oriented areas we can do? So I started to work with a lot of different startups, starting with companies such as Nutrino. We started to do find the food behavior or food consumption profile of each and every user, and took it and turn it into something that is much more valuable for diabetics. So actually it can tell you exactly what kind of food you're going to consumption. And then based on that, reduce the fluctuation of sugar consumption for any kind of diabetic patient. So it created a whole different layer of impact for this kind of a patient and managed to reduce the sugar level, which is really, really impactful. And a year after that, it just being bought by Medtronic and created a total team that handles the entire diabetic areas for the UI and app-related stuff for Medtronic. So this kind of situation where both you have an impact for the product and also for the company, I always divide them into two because there are different kind of companies. So by dividing it also the product impact and the company impact, you can integrate different layers of impact that both the founders and the company itself can provide to the society. So this kind of combination between the technology and impact tech created something that we're working all around, from philanthropy to irregular impact to a financial ESG investment to impact tech.
Right. But it sounds to me that technology investing, has its challenges. A lot of people have been working to overcome those challenges with different matrix and different due diligence processes to try and mitigate the risks of a technology team not fulfilling up to its potential. How do you go ahead and mitigate those risks when it comes to impact? So it's different types of risks. There's different ways to measure it, of course. Some of them I imagine aren't even analytical. So how do you even go about in trying to measure, both impact and the potential risk?
So first, I think you use the best important word, which is measure, because I think to do an impact investment, you need to measure the impact, not just say it in a pitch or within a presentation, because we don't want to greenwash everything we're doing. Just do the right impact. But most important, when I'm looking for early stage startup, which this is the area what I'm doing, the most important thing is the entrepreneurs. And the entrepreneurs, I look for VIP teams. What is VIP? VIP stands for V, which is the values. What drives the background and the values of the founder itself. I, which is the intent. What he wants to do. What is an intention? And then the P, which is the plan. How we want to achieve it. So combining this stuff along with the different types of entrepreneurs, diversity is very, very important. The integration, the combination, and the interaction within the entrepreneurial team is really, really important for achieving something that has concrete impact measurement and also business and financial achievement. So it's really, really important to work with these entrepreneurs to understand this kind of intent and turn it into a really plan that can be measured.
Right. And so you've already gotten a chance to take a part in some incredible investments, just a few of them: Yotpo, Mobileye, Nutrino, Anyword, NYM, Eleos Health, and more. Yeah. So how do you even go about and, do you notice different patterns within you as you're trying to observe these different opportunities, things that you're sort of converging on, different questions that you're asking on the get-go? Because you're talking about early stage. A lot of these companies are, today they're phenomenal and today everybody knows them, but I'm sure back then it wasn't that obvious to go into their investments.
Totally. So again, the entrepreneur is the most important thing, but more than that, within the impact area, the SDGs are one of the most important things that you can use as an investor. Because as an investor, we work very, very solidly according to draws. You wanted to say to me, okay, I'm invested in an area that is sustainable economics or sustainable. I can give you one example, which is very, very interesting, which is the Eleos. Eleos is a digital health company. And they started to say, okay, we have the psychotherapists that's working with different type of patients. Now, today, the entire efficacy of this treatment is being handled like in the early 50s. It's just sitting next to each other. He writes down on a piece of paper the entire summary, and none of these interaction are being measured or getting any insight regarding emergency issues or alerts, how it is being done. Did it employ the entire techniques that he wanted to employ? And did he save a lot of operation time to make sure that the entire session is being really efficient? So a lot of different kind of metrics that can put inside and save a lot of time, efficiency of the treatment, and give access to a lot of different patients that cannot be exposed because of the Zoom. Everything is much more access today. So there's a lot of different aspects that I'm measuring. Again, the founders, the topic that they choose, how they're going to deal, how they're going to work with the company and its entire stakeholders. Do they relate to the suppliers? How do you see the physical environment? So there's a lot of different aspects that I'm looking at. Again, in early stages, the early signs, if you want to measure it, if you want to achieve it, and how you're going to do it. And this is where I started to work with them.
Right. Tell me a little bit about Good Day Investment Company and the Israeli Forum for Impact Economy. Both of those sound like fascinating organizations that are also revolving around this nice idea of impact.
So actually, Good Day is a private company that my wife and I started to work towards a variety from philanthropy to advanced philanthropy, such as the impact investing and social investment bonds, which is, we can take a moment to discuss that. Because social impact bonds are very, very interesting stuff that started with Roland Cohen. and he wanted to achieve themes that usually are being philanthropic. If you want to help unserved communities, or you want to help a prisoner from getting back to prison. So they took this kind of thematic area. In Israel, it already been done 5 of them, social investment bonds. And for example, we were part of the diabetes prevention in Israel. So you're taking it can be like, I think it was 700 people that most probably poised to be in diabetic condition in a year or so. You change your entire habits and entire wellness and lifestyle. And by doing that, we actually giving the payers, which is the Bituach Leumi, the Social Security, or even the HMOs, you're giving them value because instead of paying a lot of money, they manage to keep this kind of patient, potential diabetic patient, and making sure they will not be diabetic. So this kind of operation allows the investor of this kind of thematic issue to get back their money, but not only get back, they also, based on success, and this is the most important thing, they're paid by success. If we manage to bring a lot of people back from pre-diabetic into a regular lifestyle, we manage to help a lot, achieve a social business goal, but gain even a revenue on that. So it's unheard of in the philanthropic. There are different type of new existing models that really help and drive the entire social impact area into areas that can be like a general financial outcome. So this is something that really, really drives me to look for these kind of models, and this is just the beginning.
Right, because I think traditionally people observe these models of philanthropy, social impact. They don't usually align with, financial returns. They are more concerned with how do we just deploy money to make a positive impact, but that's not sustainable and that's not scalable. And from what I'm hearing from you, by finding this win-win situation and this economically viable model, that makes it that is what can drive the real impact.
Totally. I'll give you another example. There is something called ISA, which is income share agreement. Take a little, for example, student that lives in the peripheral area and cannot really access the entire high-tech society. He needs to do some kind of transition in his career. So putting, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000 on a boot camp cost him a lot and he cannot really afford it. But if we're going to take as investor the risk from him and say to him, we will take care of the payment, but you're going to pay from success only. Meaning that if we manage to increase your salary more than $10,000, currently you're being paid $5,000. But if you're going to pay more than $10,000 or more than that, you're going to pay only from success. So just a percentage of your future income. So again, we manage to create social mobility and create something that usually in philanthropy is just being on a best effort level. But here it's success-based effort. This is something that we really work on, and we're currently being involved in another project in Israel, taking the Druze area into putting them into high-tech as well.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like we can have a full episode. Just give me a few sentences though on your work with that population, because obviously in the times that we live in and seeing the fragmentation of our society, which is so heartbreaking on one end, hearing about these types of initiatives, whether it's small or large scale, those are always extremely uplifting. So share with me a little bit about what you're doing over there.
Yeah, so actually, it's Social Finance Israel is creating a new social investment bonds that take this kind of community that usually does not go to the high-tech area. They are more like going to a specific areas that are less in the high-tech, not exposed to the high-tech community. And a lot of different companies that within the Haifa area and this kind of area say, why do I don't have Druze in my company? So let's try to do the best and bring them on. So we need to bring role models. We need to get them educated. We need to help them getting the right CVs and work them their own interviews. So there's a lot of different stuff that need to be handled in order to make them inside. And again, diversity is the most important thing to create a real companies that thrive and get their business result corrected. So this is one of the examples that I'm really excited about that we're working on.
I think that's really, really cool. And tell me a little bit about the Israeli Forum for Impact Economy.
Yeah, so it's the Israel impact economy is a form that started in Israel a couple of years ago that tried to combine the entire areas of regulation and different types of deal flow and the impact tech, all these areas to promote them in Israel and create a viable society, a viable economy for these kind of activities. It can be working with different pension funds to allow their own savers to have an ESG related areas or even a track that they can put their money and not only the exact financial outcome, also the pension, ESG related topics. I want to be involved in areas that really match my values. So today we can start to do it throughout the entire areas of our activities. So this is a real thing that we think that, again, millennials are the most important areas in this kind of puzzle. They really want to work in places that serve their own values. And this is, we believe, there's going to be a change. It's not only in the ESG that really took off during the entire COVID. And, a lot of in the financial area, ESG related stuff are really booming. But also the next step going to be within the pension fund will be on each and every topic that they are doing. And for sure, in impact tech is the most important area because ESG for me is the new DNA of the company. If you know how to treat your employees, your suppliers, your entire area, and your physical environment, this is where you're going to employ and use a lot of new workers that would like to work with you. And you achieve higher business and less risk in regulation. So there are a lot of different benefits to do ESG as your DNA, not only for the pitch and again the presentation, but to create real value for the company and reduce risk. This is why I think this is going to be booming in the next few years.
Right. And I think that, what the place we're at today and what I'm observing here is that there was a trend where it was obviously becoming sexier and more, more encouraging to join an investment opportunity when you know that the company that you're looking at is trying to make some sort of positive impact. But so that's how it started to make itself onto the pitch, like the AI went onto the pitch. But now when you have these different models that are actually saying, okay, we can actually go and tangibly make it happen, and we can tangibly explain how it's possible to build the DNA of a company through those types of ideas, then it becomes actually real. And as an impact investor, I'm sure that you can very easily today differentiate between those that are saying it and those that are actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably one of the hardest things that you would have to be able to do as an impact investor. But I think nevertheless, it's extremely exciting, and I'm extremely excited for myself as I continue to be thinking about what types of things I would want to be working on, coming to talk to you and trying to understand, okay, how can I actually be very intentional about how to get started with these things as the DNA, as what you're saying. And I think that's
You're
just
always
amazing.
welcome, Michael. I know you, and you are the best guy for do it. And again, it's a work in progress. The entire measurement is keep on and progressing, and we work hand in hand to make sure it's going to be applied for the impact tech area.
Wonderful. Okay, Ofir, are you ready for some fun questions?
But I want to ask you a thing before that.
Please.
I think it's around the 400 stuff that you are doing, the session or something. What is your input about all these sessions? Give me 5 minutes about yourself and how you're feeling throughout like being an anchor. Usually you're just interviewing everyone, but I want to hear your view.
This is the first time somebody asked me a question on 20-minute leaders. Now I can feel what it's like to be in your seat. I think that it's hard to summarize these 400 episodes. It's hard to summarize everything. But what I can say looking back is getting so excited about every person coming in and for 20 minutes trying to distill what they're passionate about and what they've been thinking about for years. And sometimes in those 20 minutes I find that it can even come up as simple or somewhat of trivial or obvious. But then when I actually think about the journey that person had to go through to come up with these insights that they truly believe in, that's the inspiring part for me. It's understanding that the journeys are much greater than what they maybe seem to be in these 20 minutes. And I think that I'm learning that you can't skip over the journeys. Just because I'm learning these lessons here doesn't mean that I can forego those experiences where I'll learn them. And so I'm excited to mainly throw myself into the deep water with all of these insights and trying to claim them for myself through real tangible experiences. I think that I had the pleasure of hearing about a lot of different things that I shouldn't be doing, or different failures that people had along the way that I can try to overcome. But when it comes to the things that people get truly excited about, I think that that's something that I'll have to discover, and I'm excited to continue discovering them for another 400 episodes at least. But it's been a roller coaster hearing why people do what they do and what people are truly passionate about. Because Ofir, in these 20 minutes, you've been working on this for years, and you work so hard, and you meet so many companies, and you've been adjusting your thinking over the years. And I come here and within 20 minutes try to distill your thought process into this very short time frame. And so you're telling me, Ofir, in 2021, what you believe in, and I think it's just it's so awesome for me to know that this is just at one junction of the journey, and when we'll do another episode a year from now, and I very much hope we'll do, it'll be a little bit of a different Ofir, and it's going to be this continuous improvement and continuous thinking process that I get excited about.
Michael, I totally agree that, again, a lot of insights in your session, but most important, this is a people business. And again, the technology is riding aside us. But again, it's all about the people, what drives them and where they're passionate. So I think you're doing a great job.
100%. Well, thank you for taking the interviewer seat for a few minutes. I really appreciate it. I'm going to reclaim it now because I have some fun questions for you that I can't let you go without. We'll start off easy. Favorite subject in school?
Favorite subject in school? Actually, I think the most important in school that I had is going to the youth environment and youth movement. This is the most important stuff that I did, and really doing my best to be the best over there, to be an instructor, and getting the time with a lot of the guys. This is the most important thing, being with people.
I love it. One of your role models in life, real or fake?
Regarding impact, really, I think what Ronald Cohen is doing in the past few years is really driving an entire scene into a new era. And I think he's one of the ones that really leads us, and in putting the vision. And we try to follow and accomplish different types of areas in our small footsteps. But really, I like what he's doing. He's really a role model for me.
I love it. And the last question, 3 words you would choose to describe yourself. Any 3 words?
I think, again, it's different. It's hard for what people would say about me, but I think I'm a trustworthy person. I always being discreet with people's own beliefs and their own secrets. And most important, I try to be candid and stay saying frankly what I think in the first or second session, not to drive them around, around the bush and let them understand what else, saying exactly what I think and try to be ethically with business with them.
I think that it ties nicely back to what you said before. It's a people business. And so I'm not surprised that those 3 words exemplify relationships that you maintain with other people. And I can definitely see that come through in these 20 minutes and from me getting to know you. Ofir, thank you very, very much. This was wonderful. Continue doing fantastic impact investing. And I can't wait to continue working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for the opportunity. Have a good one.
Thank you.